got our second game of the day coming away. Sorry, I can't even speak today. It is obviously going to be a BTXL versus a Godsent. Now, most people have kind of coined XL as the clear favorites here, and I think given the scores of these teams and the win percentages, one would not suggest otherwise. XL definitely looking to get into their stride right now, looking like a dominant team. Maybe not as dominant as kind of like some of the XL variants in the past, the special carry days, I think people maybe would have said were maybe more consistent, but XL, I think, are slowly building this team together. They're slowly ramping up, and I expect XL to be one of the strongest teams, if not the strongest team, in our competition heading towards those playoffs.
So obviously I'm not too familiar with XL back in the UK days, as I didn't really follow that, but I'd say this is a stronger iteration of what they have. They still have Deadly. I think Advian is going to be potentially better in the long run than Kasing, but obviously is not yet. I think Macoon is an upgrade from Taxa. Roma is obviously an upgrade from what you formerly had in the top side as well. And Hatrix is kind of still trying to fill the shoes that Special left behind and kind of failed last split. They didn't qualify for U Masters, but I'd say with this roster now, this is the best I've ever seen BTXL.
Yeah, I really want to emphasize Orome in that top side. I think he's the best top laner we have in the NLC. People obviously know his name from the LEC last year with Mad Lions. Had a bit of a disappointing Worlds performance, but honestly, don't let that sour your opinion of him. There's a reason why he got into LEC in the first place. He's always been so hyped up in the regional leagues, and here again in the NLC with BTXL, we've seen it time and time again. BTXL would not be the perfect score that they are right now if Orome wasn't their top laner.
And I think that just, if we take it on to the other side, that just gives Zombie on the side of Godsent an even harder task today. Zombie has not had a good tournament so far. We've seen him be solo killed multiple times. We've seen him be camped as well. But what we have seen from Zombie is that when he starts getting the shutdowns, when we start getting back into the game in the mid game, they have had success, and that's for Godsent as a roster as a whole. But problem is that they struggle to survive laning phase, and you're playing against one of the teams with the best laning stats from the top side and the AD carry as well. So you need to get something stable. At the first pick comes out for BTXL, it will be the Twisted Fate.
Yeah, Twisted Fate, very strong pick right now in the meta, and also one of Hatrix's favorite champions. I quite like this as well because for me, Hatrix is someone on BTXL who, despite them not dropping a single game yet, I would like to see a bit more out of him. I think he's been, I know he can be a lot better than what we've seen. So putting that kind of pressure, not necessarily pressure in like a negative way, but that confidence, I should say, in your mid lane and just first picking that champion, like, yo, you got the OP pick, we're gifting you this first pick. And then seeing what he can do with that. Pantheon being banned on the other side as well. Talia as well being banned. These are two champions with kind of like semi-globals. You can move around the map really fast to kind of match or pair with Twisted Fate, which for me rises the priority here of Galio as well, whether we'll see that in the picks or the bans.
This also means that both these teams don't actually have Udyr Prio as of right now, which is kind of interesting. It's a pick that we've been discussing a bit today just because we've been seeing it in other leagues, but haven't really seen it here outside of a ban. And it's not going to be the Galio. It's going to be the other part of the kind of combo here, but still something you can play for in a side lane of Roma and Camille is going to be extremely deadly, especially because what most of the time we've seen Zombie on has been weak side. So if you start to outscale him in the side lane on Camille, you've got a tough situation, even if you make it past laning phase.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Camille banned a lot across many leagues, even at the highest level. And I think Orome just looking to, I think, stamp down Lane Kingdom, in terms of that diff in the top that he's hoping to exploit, I think, with the Camille pickup here. It is a Lucian pickup for Godsent. So I would imagine that's going to Silk in the mid lane, and we're going to see a Lucian mid coming out. It is obviously something that complements the Lilia in the jungle. You have that mixed damage profile that you get from the mid and the jungle combo, which obviously can work. Little worried that that you're going to require some kind of frontline, I guess, from the top side, which does lend itself to Camille probably having a slightly easier lane matchup. So we'll have to see kind of like where this pans out for the Godsent roster. Bans coming through, and of course the first ban being the Malphite, which is a ban that can, or a pick that can deal with Camille as a tank. Like you slow her attack speed when she jumps onto you, makes it difficult to trade. So I think there's a sensible ban coming out from XL.
It's also just one of the picks that's, highly mechanical champion, that Malphite guy, for sure. Really easy for, of course, everyone to pull off here. Doesn't really do much. Yeah, exactly.
These two champs.
And Malphite is kind of one of these champions that made it back into the meta as well. It's just that when the stat line is there for him, he's such a binary champion. If you got bad stats in terms of skills, well, you get banned because you're OP. And if your stats are not there, well, you're just a champion that can knock up people and don't really do much. But this patch, he's been doing a lot, and that's why he's getting banned as well.
Yeah, Volibear ban coming through here.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's been run into Camille a lot in the major regions we've seen. It does really well in the 1v1, acts as a nice front line as well, and also sets up really good punish for the Camille because you've got good gang set up, and you can also tower dive if you can shove the wave in and get some pressure on her. But instead, it's going to be the Ornn in the top side now, with that volley being banned. And as you mentioned, Scoundrel, it's you're put on tank duty, and Camille's going to have a pretty free lane here. Not going to have too much to worry about versus Lilia Ornn.
And I love this Samira pick coming in here, specifically because that fourth of the champion coming out from Godsent. Samira is one of these champions. If there's a lot of CC on the other side of the comp, you're going to have to struggle. But here, with your W, you can actually take away the Ornn ultimate, and you take away one of their main sources of engage at the side of Godsent. So you're kind of in a tough spot on the side of Godsent. And they've gone for 4 ranged here, which, for 3 range. That kind of mean we're playing for indecision in the early game. We are kind of banking of him to start stacking these neutral objectives, give us a lead to play for after the lane priority, and then start doing some skirmishes or open up the map. But the problem kind of is here that, yeah, BTXL's composition really wants to do that as well, and they do well in skirmishes as well.
Yeah, you've got good disengage with that Janna pick. Like, I don't think we've seen Janna so far in NLC. You don't see it a lot in general. Just one of the things I'll note with the BTXL comp is that it's very, very heavy on the physical damage side of things. You've got Hatrix, who will be doing some magic damage, but he's not really going to be able to do much to an Ornn, so that could work in your favor for Godsent, maybe Ninja Tabby game as well. My eyes really, though, going to be drawn towards this Janna to see what it can do this game.
Is it ever really that much physical when it's the Darius ult on second Camille Q? I mean,
well, I saw a funny Twitter video that Inax tweeted. If you know who Inax is, guys, he's one of those an AD carry player that's obviously got a storied history in the ERLs. He tweeted almost like a spoof Riot thing. Like we've looked to add visual clarity to Camille's second cast, and like halfway through Camille's second cast, the video clips to Cho'Gath using his ultimate, and then comes back. It's honestly, go and check out Inax's Twitter. It's a really funny tweet. Anyway, guys, gonna hand it over to our casters for our second game of the day. Let's see how BTXL and Godsent shape up.
Thank you very much, guys. We're getting ready to rock onto the Rift. Honestly, my brain's turning off. We're getting ready to go onto the Rift for our second game between XL and Godsent. We had a slight pause just before we get going into the game, so it won't be too long. It's a minor settings issue, and then we'll be ready to get going. Orcs, what are you making of these comps?
I think BTXL got a lot of what they wanted. A lot of strong tools here. Graves, Chef, great combo. Camille on the top lane, arguably the best top lane in the game. And Samira and Rel are really powerful bot lane 2v2. As far as things go, I don't think they could have hoped for much more than that. I think Godsent have some interesting options in return. The Lucian, definitely something that can look to pressure the TF. And Janna into the Rel is actually a solid matchup because you can use your Tornado when she jumps in and goes into her walking form off her horse. Very easy to tornado that knock up and stop it. And actually, the disengage from Janna really powerful here when there's such a short range team, because there's a lot of short range champions on the side of BTXL, and if they can keep them at bay, they'll be in a good spot. But the problem is it's a big ask considering how BTXL have been playing.
Yeah. Well, pause is over. Teams have fixed their settings, and we will be getting ready to go with our second game of the day. Got the Ignite teleport Camille in the top lane. It's something we've seen quite a lot as of late. You've got the hook shots, so you don't really need to rely on flash as much as other champions do. So added kill pressure top side. Going to be a very exciting one to see. We'll have to see how Hatrix is going to be able to navigate the map with his destiny and look to set up his team for success. But we're on to the Rift for game number 2.
Yeah, I think particularly Camille being someone who scales so well in the late game, doesn't have a massive need for flash. Obviously, you can make great plays with it. You can extend your E and such, but ultimately the extra early pressure from Ignite just does so much more. And as if a champion didn't already have enough true damage, just a little bit extra, make those resistances even more irrelevant.
Excellent. Actually looking for a delayed invade here. They've been spotted out, I believe, mainly due to that ward that was placed down near where Silk is standing.
Yeah, I mean, they know
Sound of the
exactly.
sweeper is on, so they know.
Yeah, they know exactly where they are. It was one of those situations where Hattrick's taking that route from mid. It's understandable. You want to be able to make sure that you're not getting invaded through that point past the pixel brush, because obviously a counter invade could be devastating, but it gave away the Jig essentially. Godsent with some good defensive cover and no shenanigans coming out from level 1 this game. Do see Marcoon going for a solo start in the camp, which I like to see. Want to allow your bot lane to get to lane as soon as possible and apply that pressure.
And your Graves. If you play Graves, for everyone at home, you don't need leashes. You can do it yourself.
Yeah. Now, something you can take a look at here is Advian isn't in his horse form. And there's a reason for this. And it's because it's actually a lot harder to land the knockup when you're in your horse form, switch into your foot form, simply because there's quite a long delay and Quick Timer can obviously tornado it. Whereas if you switch into your horse form, your first auto then stuns and flips your target. So it's actually a really powerful engage tool to use. So a lot of Rels have started actually sitting in the footman form and have used that essentially as a better tool to pressure the enemy team. Obviously, we'll use it there just because you walk so slow when you're on foot. It needs the movement speed just to get back under tower.
I believe without the horse, she has the lowest movement speed in the game.
Yes, it's like not even close.
You're actually walking backwards almost. You're going that slow.
There's no champions in the game. Like most champions, even the slow ones are like 325, and she's 250, I believe.
Oh.
Which is really slow. But one of the builds that's been coming out recently has been Deadman's Plate on a lot of support, and honestly, but particularly Rel, because if you're 250 movement speed and then you have Deadman's Plate fully stacked, you get a lot of extra flat movement speed that just kind of puts you on par with other champions. And especially when you're in your mounted form, you just go so much faster.
It's crazy. We've seen a real rise up in the amount of Rels we've been seeing as of late.
I don't know why I was calling it horse form and foot form when I could just call it like mounted,
form and horse
dismounted. No idea.
And it's a suit of armor. It's not even actually a horse. It just is shaped like a horse.
Adapt or perish.
True.
Oh, Rome and Zombie going for another trade into the hook shot. There's that true damage auto. The ignite is down, and Zombie, are you going to be cooked here?
Ooh, I thought that was enough. The potion and the Dawn Shield coming in clutch there to save Zombie.
One
Now,
more
with
auto.
Ignite not doing that much damage. Yeah, I think Arome obviously thought he had that kill as well, but ultimately does force Zombie to reset and go for the TP, but he should just be able to catch this wave. And Arome likely going to reset here as well, as he has spent a lot of his mana in this situation. A lot of heavy trading.
Yeah, but ultimately lane will crash in. Zombie's teleported back to lane, and realistically, Arome not going to really need to burn that teleport. Goes back for the Sheen. Is going to teleport just to keep the lane pressure going. I think that's completely fine as well. Not expecting really any action to break out elsewhere where a teleport will be required. So the teleport for teleport topside, but the ignite is down as well onto Rome. And Indecision is in the area, although a level 4 Lilia, probably not the strongest ganker.
Yeah, definitely not. Don't think he'll go for that play, especially as the turn potential of Graves turns up could be devastating. Do you see a lot of respect being paid by Godsent's bot lane? They seem so scared of Deadly and Advian. They're playing really cautiously, and actually MTest has fallen behind in terms of farm on the back of this. He's been playing a really defensive game, really cautious. And yes, he's going to be able to pick up a fair amount of this CS here, but even with that, he's still behind. And consider it's a double range matchup, it's obviously not ideal.
Indecision looking here. The bowling ball's not going to go into anybody. Blocked out by the Ornn Tower.
I mean, that's the closest we've had to actual bowling, I would say.
Yeah. The tower fell down as well at the time it got hit. Just good timing on that one.
There's a strike. You gonna good at bowling?
No, my bowling is entirely luck-based. Like, I'll have like a game where I get loads of strikes, and in the game after, I'll gut a ball every shot. It's entirely luck-based to me.
Yeah, I'm just terrible.
Do you use the little slide thing?
No. Oh, the slide? No. I thought you were going to say you use the railings on the side.
No.
No to both. I have some self-respect, but I'm pretty bad. Sometimes so. Sometimes like there's a 1 in 100 bowl where I'm just like, oh, that was perfect. And then
it's one of those, yeah, but when it comes to bowling, it's like if you hit that strike and you're bad, it feels so much better. because you didn't expect it. You just throw it out and you're like, oh! Like, that's normally the impression you get.
Yeah, there's a lot more surprise and randomness when you're bad at bowling.
Pure joy.
I guess that's the approach you have in League of Legends as well. You're like, oh, I won lane!
Yeah, exactly. You're missing out. Honestly, if you're just bad at the game, then actually the game is a lot more fun when you do well, because
yeah, XL definitely not having fun here. Like, being a good team's overrated.
Yeah, exactly.
So hopefully Godsent beat them, and then that makes it a little bit spicy, you know?
I mean,
XL worried about
genuinely,
losing.
I'd love a shake-up. I would love a shake-up in the standings. Fnatic got beaten by Barrage at the beginning of the season. XL still yet to drop a game, so, you know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, they have their mandatory upset per season, so hopefully they'll pick an opportune moment to go for that one.
I mean, the upset for XL could be them actually beating Fnatic for once.
I mean, XL have to lose a game, by the way. Do you not remember that season we had where they won every game until the finals and then they got reverse swept by...
Yeah, that was...
You don't want that again. You've got to lose at some point, otherwise...
Well, that was a year ago.
So.
That was the spring split for the UK LC back before we were combined with the Nordics, but we were doing the Nordic League at the same time.
Good time.
That feels so long ago.
It does. I think it feels like it's been so long because of everything that's happened since.
I haven't had a bowling strike in that time.
Yeah, that means nothing to me because I don't know if you could have been go bowling every weekend. I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
It's hard to do right now to go bowling every weekend, if I'm going to be honest with you, mate. A lot's getting thrown onto Zombie. He has got the gold card coming in, and underneath the tower looks for the knockup. Zombie's actually doing a pretty good job to be able to die, keep himself going in the middle of all of this. Finally goes down in his first blood for Arome. Honestly, Zombie navigated that very, very well, considering he had 3 members tower diving him. The rest of his team, though, were able to pick a dragon up. So ultimately, an equal trade in the objectives there.
You know what that was? Do you know what that literally was? That was Seeker's Arm Guard, right? Because this tower, I mean, let's count the tower hits, okay? There's one that comes on Arome. There's 2 on Arome. That's 3rd, 4th. That's a 5th tower hit on Hatrix, and it doesn't even do that much damage. And it's because he has a Seeker's Arm Guard, and that item is just completely broken, the amount of armor it gives. But like literally, like if he didn't have that armor, I think that tower hit, those 3 tower hits would have killed him because it was already ramped up, and towers do big damage. So like, I mean, in fairness, he had flash. He probably could have flashed out of the tower, let Marcoon take aggro. But either way, Seeker's really powerful item. But Godsent actually went for a pretty aggressive play here on the Herald, and they're gonna get it. See if they can get out.
Ooh, a decision. Gets gold carded, flashes away, Deadly slides in, goes for the Wild Rush once again. A decision able to get away from that one. And a couple of summoner spells burnt, but they walk away with the objective. And XL had already swapped their top lane up here, their bot lane up to the top side. So ultimately, XL a little bit too slow to the play, and Godsent, I have to give it to them. They've been doing these neutral objectives very, very well. Bullet time's going to come down just to clear out the wave. Nem Test and Quick Timer can now go for a reset.
That was literally indecision. He couldn't make his mind up whether he wanted to pick up the Herald, and then he's like, oh, wait, I need to go for it. Nearly cost him his life, but manages to get out. But yeah, just a great read from Godsent. Swaps their bot lane up sooner. And the thing is, because BTXL went for that top lane play onto Zombie, they then had to go for a reset. They had low health bars, and it very much delayed them. So although they got the kill, they didn't actually benefit from it massively. They weren't able to pick up much in terms of tower plating because there was no wave. And it actually cost them the Herald. So I'd say XL making a little bit of a mistake there for the early game play. They're still up in gold, though. And you can see Deadly still able to apply some pressure and get some plates. But really shouldn't be happening, I feel. BTXL coming in with a lot of expectations on their back. You think they'd be able to get that one in the bag.
Yeah, especially when you're looking at the team they're playing. 1-3 in the standings. And while XL are up in gold, they have been able to secure themselves that first tower blood and a fair few amount of plates for themselves as well. Ultimately, it's not as controlled as, you know, the Tricked versus Granite game, which is much closer in the standings. Now, I don't want to write XL off. They are still ahead and, you know, they are still the favorites to win this game. But I thought we were going to be in for a very one-sided affair, and Godsent making some good plays, kind of just avoiding XL. They're just playing League of Legends PvE right now.
I mean, why not? You have a lot of strong tools in your team composition, and you don't want to play full prey to the TF. Obviously, any plays you go for where you're matching BTXL, there's always that concern that the TF's going to ult in and make things really difficult for you. So, be the devil.
Hatrix doesn't even get put to Betty buys in time.
Yeah, and that's what happens when TF wants to make a play.
Nope. Getting caught out. Avian's actually used the Magnet Storm, and Stilk's ignited. The Attract Repel is enough to stun him, enough to lock him down. Red buff is burning, and Marcoon secures the kill. Red smite, not red buff, but...
And he just has some saying praises about Godsent, holding things pretty well. We see Indecision get caught out, and then we see Silk going for a really aggressive play that was just completely unnecessary.
I think he felt a little bit too comfortable. Had the Gale Force. There was only a new Magic Mantle on Advian, so wasn't actually fully stacked out, but just Markin just gets one shot, just annihilated. Meanwhile, back in real life, Zombie gets himself a knock-up on the Camille wall. The gold card will come into the hook shot, and this will be a fourth kill, for XL.
I mean, the desk was talking about Hatrix looking to find him wanting to see him step up, be a little bit more proactive, make more of an impact, and we're actually seeing that this game. He's doing a lot more for his team, all things considered, and really making this TF pick work, something that's really been dominant at the highest level, a pick with a lot of priority. Rome
slowed down by the Zephyr. M-Test is just looking to put the damage in, the knock up from the Tornado, and this should just be the first kill for Godsent, although it was pretty close. M-Test able to find the shutdown. Indecision will use the Rift Herald in the mid lane. Silk does not have ulti, so he can't clear this wave quite as quick, and members for XL are coming forward in time. They may be able to stop this one as only one member gets hit. Rift Herald wasted. That was a really, really sloppy Herald, actually, from Godsent. They are going to pick up a second dragon for themselves. No contest coming in from XL.
That kind of felt like a desperation. Oh, we still have Herald. I guess we better use it. But I didn't have the setup for it, didn't have the priority, and the end result is they really don't benefit from it at all.
M-Test feeling very comfortable here in the lane, knowing that quick time is about. Rome going to take a lot of poke in return. Deadly, this is basically a flashback to old Deadly. This is what we used to see. Off in a side lane alone, pushing and farming alone, picking up tower plates and gold alone, and actually will get this tower just before the plates fall off as well. So that's a lot of bonus gold. 610 gold, I believe, just injected into Deadly there. Rome does look to jump onto M-Test, but the shields from Quick Timer are pretty chunky. The Swirl Seed not going to be enough to hit a Roman. And Roman now needs to be careful. Getting collapsed on multiple fronts. Indecision might be the one who's getting collapsed on here. Gets the Chilling Smite. Destiny's being used. They do use the Lilting Lullaby. Here comes that Destiny into the knock-up, and Hatrix may just lose his life. No ultimate coming down. The Monsoon to heal up, and Indecision flashes out as Silk secures the kill onto Hatrix on the back. Hex flash over the wall, and M-Test got that red buff burning away. Will be able to make his way out. And honestly, Indecision, it just feels like he's not in communication with his team. Jumping out and flashing out of the Monsoon from Janna. Really, really weird.
Yeah, it just seems Godsent kind of starting to lose control of this game, a little bit scattered, and BTXL continuously making these plays, but still in it. We saw a very one-sided game prior to this, and this is not that similar. There's still a hope for Godsent right now, but they need to stop making these mistakes, stop getting picked off for free, essentially.
Well, hopefully we get a little replay of that. Might have to hold it, though, as Silk is going 1v1 versus Deadly and winning that pretty hard. But Marcoon and Avian coming in. The blind's going to go wide. Indecision is about with quick timers. No one's getting hit by Indecision's Q or the Swirl Seed, so that's going to be that.
Yeah, so we're going to have a replay of the play coming in before, and it's just one of those situations where there's no wave to dive this. M-Test's out of mana. It's just a pretty big overstay in this situation. And especially when you're up against the likes of Camille, she doesn't have her ult right now, but the Camille TF is such a devastating combo in terms of lockdown. You have to be a bit concerned. And yet, they managed to turn around, they managed to get that exit kill. But I feel like Godsent are kind of playing with fire here overall.
Yeah, definitely.
I think the big thing I'd like to hone in on is the Janna, a great tool to sort of disengage from those fights, and she really is showing a lot of value. I think she's the sort of champion that a lot of players don't put too much stock into. And I think she's definitely not a blind pick, but in the right scenario, and I think this is one of them, she does have a ton of utility that she can offer to the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. Honestly, the champion is really, really underrated in a meta where it's very dive-heavy teams. We see a lot of these kind of brawl teams where you kind of throw everything at one person. And Janna does a good job of negating that as the tornado's blocked by quick time.
Negating.
And yeah, Deadly doesn't need a support because that champion has a wind wall.
I mean, he blocks the tornado, and I think MTest expected the knockup, so instantly went for the ult. Unfortunately, Deadly just doesn't care.
Probably just would have been a marginal chunk. He has got a level lead over MTest and a CS lead as well. Immortal Shield both finished up, so a lot of safety to work with. And now MTest being ultless won't be able to clear this wave out as easily.
This is a big pivotal point for this game, though, because BTXL 4,000 gold up, but they don't have any dragons. They want to start picking those up. They want to start having Dragon Soul as a win condition, even though, honestly, being a Cloud Soul, it's not really going to be the highest priority compared to typical other ones. But the fact that Godsent have been able to get 2 so far, BTXL will want to deny this third one. They'll want to pick it up themselves, and this likely is to come with a fight. But for now, they'll throw that Herald down mid, and that's mid tower just gone. Godsent went for a reset. Try and get ready for this objective, and it does cost them their mid lane tier 1.
Godsent kind of going, oh, that's how you use Herald. After their fumbled attempt earlier, and they've been stacking up these dragons. The question is are they actually going to be able to use it to get themselves a soul, or if they just give an XL 4 clouds in a row? Looks like they are going to try to attempt to force here. Now, I need to actually get your insight on this. Will Deadly be able to block the Ornhorn?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that champion is actually so strong. What the hell?
Yeah, it's really insane.
I guess it's a projectile.
Yes, I mean, same as Windwall and Braum being able to block it. Oh.
Are you going to put him to sleep? No, they haven't quite got the damage. He still has the shield bow. There is a flank coming in. Hatrick's holding the wave here. As the Swellsy's not going to hit. A Roommate also off in the wings. Knows he's not on vision as he was standing on a pink ward.
This is beautifully orchestrated here to go for a big flank. And Godsent, they're trying to stick close as a unit. They need to engage now.
Dragons do a lot. That's a massive Magnet Storm. This is the fight they were looking for. Deadly's just dancing around the edge. And it's a double kill already for Arome. Marcoon's able to get himself a killing spree. And Arome going to get a triple kill onto Quick Timer. Quick Timer will go down to one last tactical sweep.
Yep, so pivotal point in the game. We saw it, and we saw XL absolutely deliver. As I said, they need to engage. It was actually Godsent I was talking about. They needed to go for the fight before XL jumped in, but XL pulled the trigger sooner, and Advian found a beautiful engage on the Rel. Get to see a replay of that once again. And it's just at this moment, you know you're going to be clapped on. You need to engage on the 3-man, but it's Advian who turns it around. Beautiful stun combo and able to lock 4 members up. And then as soon as that happened, the fight's already over. You can see XL looking to clean up, but the impact's being made. The fight's over. It's just picking up kills. And that was the moment where Godsent had to try and get that third dragon, get that fight, get back in the game. Losing that, they have been put so far behind. It's an 8k gold deficit. And now their Dragon Soul win condition for Godsent is completely out the window. It's going to be 10 minutes before they have a chance to secure it. And with this gold deficit, there's a good chance the game ends by that point.
Yeah, it really is. As Advian almost stole that red buff. Didn't quite get it. Marcoon necessarily able to find out Quick Timer, but Zombie really feeling the hurts of that 2-item Camille now. Meanwhile, Hex Flash over the wall. Silk could be in for a world of hurt here. The Attract and Repel up and available, but not going to get used.
Godsent potentially looking for a pick here, but Advian, not the easiest target to take down in all honesty.
Yeah, he's really not. Slowly just trying to get a grip hold of their own jungle back, but these are very shallow wards from Godsent. And it feels like this chokehold playstyle we've seen quite a lot in the last few weeks is starting to take over for XL.
I mean, It's actually...
Oh, no. I say chokehold. This is just a slaughter. Markoon gets himself a kill, and Quick Timer. Champion's capable of disengaging, but not when you're getting completely CC locked like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's the gold card from Hatrix really doesn't allow much counterplay at all. It essentially lands, and then that's kind of just it. You're kind of caught out. Really not much you can do in terms of counterplay. But a great execution for BTXL, and now they're looking towards that Baron. We'll see if Godsent... Oh,
jumping in. Here comes everyone. Hatrix with the gold card. M-Test loses his life. The call of the forward squad's being thrown down, but Arome solo killing Silk off on the sideline as Indecision's looking for the turnaround, but Arome doing so much damage in response.
yeah.
Indecision can only watch as his wards go down. A lot of burn actually coming in from Indecision. He just goes for the hook shot and finds the shutdown. A little bit over-eager from Arome, to be honest.
Arome limit testing a bit there and gets caught out, but BTXL, they have so many engaged tools. They start the Baron, they find a window, and they look to capitalize. Easy execution, and really well played coming out from BTXL. This is the sort of play we expected from them.
Well, you can see that fight once again. Just honestly, we're seeing really good use of the rail.
The critical thing is you see Arome and Advian's position. Both of them are finding this almost like pincer. All the fight setups we've seen for XL, they've had this position. They've had two flankers off to the side. And it means that when Godsent wants to push in, BTXL can close the trap on them. There's no real avenue for escape. And the engage is just beautiful there. So really well played from them. And clearly, Function is a well-oiled machine so far. And I think the interesting thing for me is we kind of actually saw, not completely the same, but similar sort of play from XL previously, where the early game wouldn't be super dominant, but then it hit the mid game and they would just blow the game open with a big devastating team fight. But we've seen a big roster changes from BTXL. It's only Deadly and Hatrix that have stayed on. I think the critical thing is they still have the same coach, and it must be very much something that they discussed as a game plan, because this team, when it comes to those mid-game setups, has just been executing it perfectly, even better than last split, but that was still very much sort of how they played the game in summer 2020.
Well, you can see the gold graph on your screen. Kind of what you expected, to be honest. Just a big blue bar growing more and more.
What a great description.
How would you describe it?
I mean, I wouldn't do it differently, but it's kind of like, it's kind of like, what is it? Is it like modern art, or is it? What's the phrase for it? You know, when you have like just like blocks of paint.
Yeah, that is modern art.
Yeah, modern art. It kind of feels like you're describing a modern art piece there. Just a big blue bar getting longer and longer. $3 million.
Yeah, that GCSE in art not being wasted there.
You can actually do GCSE. Oh wait, did you do GCSE in art?
I did do GCSE art. Do you know what I did as my final piece?
What did you do?
I made a statue out of hubcaps from cars.
That's pretty cool, actually.
And the school really liked it. They displayed it. And then I found out a year later, a bunch of kids after I left it just like vandalized it and ruined it.
So here's the question.
I went to a nice school, guys.
How did you obtain the
looks like we have to hold that as a destiny is just used defensively. What were you saying, Hawks?
How did you obtain the hubcaps? With the faculty like coming out from school one day and they're like, wait a minute.
I used to just like get lifts to school and
you steal the hubcaps?
I'd just find them. Admittedly, I'd take a screwdriver with me. Arome looking for a slight chunk onto Zombie, and the tower will go down. The Baron Siege doing a fair amount of work here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, BTXL, 12,000 gold in the lead. It's real desperation for Godsent. It needs such a mammoth mistake to even see a hope for Godsent in this one. They just need BTXL to overcommit. 5-man Lilting Lullaby, and while they're all asleep, just a bullet time over the top is kind of what we're looking at. Obviously, it's a bit of a reach task for a 5-man, but anything in that vicinity is kind of what we're looking at if we want to see Godsent come back into this one. But they're hard-pressed. The goal deficit is so big. XL have been playing this one controlled. There have been these explosive moments, but for the most part, they've been completely on top of where they need to be, what they need to do.
Yeah, it just feels like at the moment the meta is this chokehold kind of game style where teams slow and steadily just bleed the other team dry, and that's exactly what's happening here. Vision is being forced out and deeper and deeper and deeper into Godsent's jungle. I mean, if we actually have a quick toggle of the Vision while we got the chance, you can see there are no red wards beyond the red buff. They don't even go that far, to be fair.
I mean, there was that one deep one in the mid lane if they want to go for a TP flank.
True.
But, I mean, I feel like if Godsent to go for that, Zombie's just going to get turned on. It has to be like a kite back from Godsent. It has to be BTXL overcommit, BTXL make a mistake, and go too far, and they're able to turn it around. But at this point, I mean, it just feels really rough. I mean, you look at Deadly. Deadly's got Ninja Tabbies, he's got Shield Bow, he's got Bloodthirster. This is a tanky AD carry. It's not really going to die too easily. There's Protobelt from Hatrix, Gale Force from Marcoon, so a lot of mobility. Sterax on a Rome to make him invincible. So many parts of BTXL's items so far that just makes it even harder. This gold deficit really a big barrier to overcome, and Godsent looking to push up here, and you can see pings come now. XL fishing for the engage.
Teleport and Destiny used. The backline has been accessed. Gold card charged up by Hatrix. Magnet Storm lands onto 2. Big Monsoon to break him up for the moment, but Quick Time will lose his life. Bullet Time over the wall. Marcoon just annihilating M-Test. It's a double kill for Deadly. And 4 members of Godsent go down. XL just completely wiped them off the map.
Yeah, I mean, Godsent overstepping to the nth degree. BTXL were waiting for a moment like that. The double flank comes in. Rome TP and Hatrix able to use his Destiny, and they just absolutely devastate. Easy cleanup. And this should just be game for the side of BTXL. It's only indecision to defend. No ultimate. If they want to, I think they could easily take him down here. Rome's fishing.
Yeah, Hatrix with the Lichbane as well. It's going to be able to do a lot of work. Gold card, the Ghost. A lot of damage laid in, as that is going to be the finish-up kill. Down goes the Nexus towers, and down goes the Nexus. Short to follow. Deadly's going to have to use the Blade World to stop the culling, but it's not going to be enough. 28 minutes exactly on the clock. And XL take down Godsent.
Decisive victory. And honestly, this kind of felt like my promo games, these last two. It's been really one-sided, but I think we have to give credit to BTXL. They are a pretty heavily changed team coming off last split, and they've handled things even better than Fnatic. They had a lot of changes to the roster. They've come in, they're really coordinated, they're playing on the same page. And what was honestly the greatest thing for me to see was their setups for team fights. Having those 2 pincers almost flanking out to the side just meant that there was no way Godsent could escape. And as soon as Godsent pushed in just a little too far, the trap was sprung, they collapsed, and it's honestly just a really great thing to see the coordination from this team.
Yeah, it's honestly the flanking set up by Hatrix and Arome was beautiful, honestly. Really, really good stuff there from XL. They keep their undefeated streak going here in the NLC. We're going to throw to a quick break, though, and when we're back, we'll have Scoundrel and Guldborg English mode and Guldborg Danish mode to talk about the game a little bit more. See you in a second.
bloodshot eyes. Another ocean opens wide. Our love is sick but still alive. Then all our hearts would radiate and melt the sadness we create. Only then could we survive. Let's turn singing, hey, this love is all around us. This love is all around us. Staring idly at the sky, Love is almost passed us by, still we watch it fade away. And all our prospects wearing thin, we don't know where to begin, or where we might have gone astray. We crave, we strive to feel alive, singing this love is all around us. This love is all around us. Wait for tomorrow. Lay in sorrow. Along your waste. This is no fate. Singing hey, hey. This love is all around us. This love is all around us. This love is all around us. This love is all around us.
Welcome back. The expected result, BTXL take the win there. Again, very dominant as we expected from them. That roster seems to be going from strength to strength. They continue their unbeaten record in the NLC. Now, before we start to break down that game, we of course have our interview. It will indeed be Foxy D piloting this one again. So take it away, Foxy.
Thank you very much, mate. Yo, they've got Deadly here today. Hello, Deadly. Congratulations on your win. How you doing?
All right, Foxy, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fab, mate. I'm fab. I want to ask you about the role that you play in League of Legends, because you had a brilliant game. 700 gold bounty towards the end, 0 deaths. But, people say ADC is pretty strong right now in Season 11. What are your thoughts on your role?
I mean, I don't know. My role is either I'm really useful or I'm really useless. Like, I think last game I played Seraphine, or the game before, and I did pretty much the same as I did right now, but better. So, I don't know. I feel like AD is very variant. You can play whatever you want and you'll still be useful. So.
But at the end of the day, it's still always jungle diff.
Yeah, exactly.
So I want to ask you, I'm not going to ask you about whether or not E-Masters is your goal this split, because we both know it is. But we also know that you didn't make it last split in summer. So my question to you really is, what are you doing now to make sure that that doesn't happen again?
Well, as we know, we got a little bit too cocky last year, didn't we? We went 18-0. We thought we was going to win everything, and then it went downhill when we lost everything. So, yeah, step one is not to get cocky, and step two is just to keep improving, I guess.
Are you worried at all? Are you nervous?
No, I don't think so. My team is just nervous. I don't have to do anything.
All right, that's a good confidence right there. I want to ask you as well about Udyr. So I asked Poulsen this when I had him in for an interview. Udyr actually slipped through the draft this time round. No picks, no bans.
What?
But we're seeing a lot of rising priority on him. What are your thoughts on Udyr? Where's his place in the game right now?
Oh, he's moved out of channel. He's moved.
Oh,
there we go.
and he's back. Hello. Sorry. You hear me, Deadly mate? Nope. All right. Well, Deadly is. Can you hear me? Yes. No. Yes. No,
I'm
no.
back.
Yeah,
I'm back.
He's back. Okay. I'll ask you about
I
Udi,
don't
but
know
don't
what
worry about that. Udi is boring as hell. I'll
Yeah,
wrap it
that's
up
true.
real quick here because I know you've got important things to do. You got to go celebrate. I'm sure you got loads of chopper chops to go and have with your team too.
Yeah.
This question comes from a friend of mine. He wants to know: is there any chance that you're looking for a Diamond for Jungle Joe partner this season?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't play with jungle, dude. I need support. I'm sorry for
Okay,
that.
well, I'll let my friend know. I'm sure he's not crying right now. Thank you very much, Deadly mate. Congrats again on your win and best luck for your next games.
All right, cheers. Thank you, mate.
Mate, I think Deadly just savaged you. I think he basically just said, no
Me?
way. Yeah,
It wasn't me.
Yeah, your friend.
My
yes.
friend.
Your
Yeah.
friend's Dropbox.
He said D4
I know
jungler.
him well. I know him well. Dropbox, he's an incredibly good friend.
Nice.
No. He said D4 jungler. We all know Fox is gold. It's fine. Like, there's nothing
Hey,
wrong with
that's
that.
only on one account, okay?
Yeah, okay.
That's only one account.
Oh dear. Guys, okay, we can actually welcome Professor Gulborg back into the fold now because we do have a breakdown that we want to walk through here. So, Gulborg, take us through.
It's me, baby. Let's get back into it. The drawing board works. Let's go. All right, so we're back. We're talking priority. We're talking Drakes. And let's have a look around the position that BTXL has put into this Drake, because this has been the most interesting way of getting mid lane priority I have seen in a while. Let's play the clip. And let me try and get a circle. Let's make it, let's make it orange. Look at him up here. He is proxying the mid lane wave as the Twisted Fave while they're trying to get into the Drake pit. Let's have a look at the minimap. Look at these circles. You know what that is? That is straight up priority right there for BTXL. So that means in turns, when we play this clip, that this fight, when it breaks out, they're walking in blind. That is an insane engage from Adrian, followed up by the Twisted Faith ultimate, which he can afford to use when he's proxying because of its global. And then you got Orome coming in from the side with the priority in a side lane. Priority, it's the best thing for a Drake setup. And I want to highlight something. I want to give a big shout out to Adrian. Adrian was in the Nordic scene 1 year ago when he was on the super team that Nordovin kind of built to come in here, and they completely collapsed, and the kind of opinion of all these players kind of shattered. But now he's back here, and he's back on an academy team, and he's doing so well. Young guy, lots of potential, and this is the kind of fights he breaks out. It's amazing.
So obviously we've got a bit of time before we head towards the next game of the day, but that game I think clearly spoke for itself. I think there's very little you can kind of work in and out other than just XL with the dominant team. They played like the dominant team and with the result that we expected, and also played it like we expected them to. So before we dive into the next game, let's actually look forward to that one. This is going to be Dusty versus Nordovin, and I actually think this is going to be a really interesting matchup. Dusty clearly down and out right now. They are yet to get a win in the entire tournament, but their roster has got some. I keep saying this: is some talented players on that roster. Like there really are some talented players on that roster. But Nordovin aren't having the best of luck either, despite having another what we would have called a talented roster coming into this. How do you see this matchup going? Because a lot of people have put Nordovin as the favourites. Obviously, apart from Foxy, he went for Dusty. But I do actually think this could be relatively close, Gulborg.
It could be relatively close, but to me, it kind of comes down to comfort at this point. We've seen some creative champions and playstyle come out from Dusty in the beginning, like we kind of know the organization for nowadays. But I think that what you need is just one success story, something to build upon, a stepping stone, really. And you need to go back to the roots to do that. And the same can be said for Nordovin, because even if they've gotten ahead with all the neutral objectives, you make one bad team fight and it all starts to crumble. You need simple recipes that's easy to follow.
I have faith in my Dusty boys. Not gonna lie, they've looked troubled so far in the NLC. I think I'll put it that way. But then again, Nordovin aren't without their troubles either. And I think this is a team where, on their A game, I think Nordovin would probably take it. I think they're a very good squad as far as the actual talent that's on their roster. But I just think today, there's something about today that, you know, it's Dusty's time. Dusty is going to put out the bag today. Nordavin are going to keep finding those struggles that they always seem to find every single game. Maybe it's teething that just keeps going on and on and on. But either way, I believe in the Dusty, and I'm the only one to predict them today. And I'm just going to show you guys why that was a 5-heads prediction. Okay,
And so far,
they're
when
going to show you why.
So far, when you've been here, Foxy, your prediction has been cursed. The team loses. I don't know if you know your track record, but it's not that good. So I feel like I don't know if you've done them a favor here.
Okay, well, if I have cursed you, Dusty, sorry in advance.
Look, I hope you haven't cursed them, because if Dusty don't get a win here, their playoff dreams are very quickly going to start slipping away. So they need to start the turnaround this week, realistically, to have a good fighting chance of making a playoff spot. So, you know, I'm hoping that we haven't got the Foxtrot curse on them. Nordavin, they've already got a win, mate. They don't need another one just yet. Dusty really needs to bloody win. So, hopefully
I'm not sure one's enough, to be honest. But
no, I don't think one's enough either. But hey, we're going to go to a short break. When we're back, we are going to have our third game of the night, Dusty versus Nordavin.